Well, I'll tell you this, Hank. It is a mismatch on paper, and this is one of the reasons why. And as you look down this impressive list of veterans that have come back into camp to play in this ball game, you'll see those red stars mean players that have been to the Pro Bowl. Atlanta short on players coming back. Only Tim Green will play. Joe Costello is on the IR. Atlanta will kick off. Harry Sidney and Del Rogers are deep for the 49ers. And we're underway. Week 2 of a very abnormal, unusual season. This is Harry Sidney to the 15. He'll get to the 20, and that'll be it. Good coverage down there by Moss, a cornerback. And now we'll see who Bill Walsh will start for the 49ers. Which of the veterans will he go with early here? The Atlanta defensive line, Studaway, Emmanuel Weaver, and Dwayne Morris. Linebackers, that's where you see the veteran Tim Green. And then the secondary is thin. Thompson, Jones, Lush, and Moss. Mike Lush played on 2 championship games in the USFL with the Philadelphia Stars. First down. Montana is the quarterback. The give inside to Roger Craig, and he's got a couple. Mike Lush makes the tackle along with the linebacker Herb Spencer. So Bill Walsh, Hank, going with the veterans early.
Well, he wants to win the football game, and that makes a lot of sense. That's what it's all about, Tim.
These will, in fact, count in the standings. It's 2nd and 5 from the 25 from Montana. This is Joe Cribbs. Joe Cribbs out to the 30-yard line. Those of you who have been enjoying the St. Louis-New Orleans game, St. Louis wins that one 24.
As a result, now here they're playing against his own defense. Clark goes down, makes a move to straighten the defensive back out, goes right across the middle in the zone. The ball's right on the numbers. He makes a big catch and a first down. Charlie Huff makes the tackle.
Pickup of 21 yards. It'll be 1st and 10, the ball on the 30. Roger Craig with a lot of blockers and plenty of room inside the 20. Bangs his way down to the 12 before he's run out of bounds. Gary Moss, number 23, ran him out of bounds, but Roger Craig had some blockers, had some room, and then got some more yardage on his own.
That's a counter play with the right guard, Durrett, number 64, and Cochran, number 76, pulling on the play, both of whom did a very good job. And, of course, Craig did the rest with good running for the first down.
First down at the 12 as Montana comes up under center. Again, it's Craig. Inside the 10, he bangs his way down to the 8. Jim Laughlin, the linebacker, makes the tackle there.
Tracy France, the left tackle, number 63, 6'5", 280. He was in camp with the 49ers. He knows the system very, very well. And you know what he was doing? He was driving an 18-wheeler truck before he came back into camp.
Bill Walsh now in his 9th season as head coach of the 49ers. This is certainly one of the toughest seasons of those 9. Marion Campbell, the head coach of the Atlanta Falcons. Russ Francis, Heller, 2 tight ends. Craig cuts back inside. Not much there on 2nd and 6. Good pursuit by the Falcon defense. Cranack along with Studaway and Dwayne Morris. And Russ Francis may be shaken up. No question, he is. The play, reverse, Monroe. And the 49ers take the ball down to the 10-yard line. Carl Monroe on the reverse. Tim Laughlin was there to make the stop.
Here we go. Walsh loves this. He gives it to Cribbs. And he gives it back to Carl Monroe on the outside. They're in hot pursuit, but watch you run right by the 2 would-be tacklers. And he makes extra yardage on the play, and he got tripped really on the play. But there was a great illustration of the outstanding speed of Monroe.
21-yard gain, first down. Falcons bang it up inside. This is Craig to the 4-yard line, and he'll be stopped there. Heck, I believe the 49ers can get a first down. The ball was just outside the 10-yard line, so rather than first and goal, I think it was first and 10 just beyond the 10. Mike Lush and Cranack come up and make the stop for the Falcons. Marion Campbell in his second year as head coach of the Falcons after serving in Philadelphia. This is a return appearance. He coached here in 1974 through 1976, the Swamp Fox.
Yeah, and I asked him yesterday how he felt about the game. He said, now I know how Custer felt.
He was a Pro Bowl player with the Eagles and, ironically, the 49ers.
Who, Custer?
Cribbs. He's close. Awfully close. No sign. Gary Moss made the tackle.
Watch him coming off the ball. Cribbs bounces into one of his own linemen. And it looks like France. And as a result, kind of ricocheted off to the side and didn't get the yardage that he normally would have gotten had he not run into his offensive tackle, Tracy France.
3rd and 1, just outside the 1 for the 49ers. Craig up and over. Touchdown, 49ers. No surprise there. The 49ers on the board early.
Watch him come over the top. They're all in the gap in tight. And look at the linebacker, 96, try to meet him in midair. But Cranack, who played with the Philadelphia Eagles, watch him, he meets him. And in spite of that, he's still able to get across the line for the touchdown.
Jeff Brokaus is on now to attempt the extra point. He missed a field goal just moments ago from 23 yards out. This one is good. So we've got 6 minutes and 22 seconds. All of that has been time of possession for San Francisco. Atlanta has had one play, 12 seconds.
Well, as the game is going a little bit like we anticipated, Timmy, and I think as the game goes on and they get some more points early, we're going to see every formation and everything imaginable by this 49er team as the game progresses.
First down at the 27. Rick Badonic straight ahead. Gets maybe a yard. And he's greeted rudely. Pete Kugler made the initial hit. Defensively for San Francisco, it's Kugler. Nicholas and Board up front. The linebackers, Cooper, of course, the veteran, Hadley, Cousineau, and Keeble. And then the secondary. Jeff Fuller at strong safety leads the pack. Van Raphorst set most of the passing records at Arizona State. This is 2nd and 9. His second pass of the day, and it's complete. Sylvester Bird across the 45 to the 47-yard line. Jeff Fuller, the safety, takes him down.
He moves the pocket here, rolls to his left. Watch it. Play action fake. Bird pops wide open across the middle behind the linebacker and the defensive front of the defensive back. Fuller, number 49, gets a good shot at him high and finally knocks him down, but they pick up enough yardage for the first down.
A gain of 19. It'll be first down at the 47 Falcons. Fake to Badonic again, goes to the air. Almost intercepted. Played nicely out there by Darryl Pollard, number 36 from Weber State. Take a look at the offensive talent from Atlanta. Jeff Van Raphorst, the quarterback, McIntosh and Badonic in the backfield. The wideouts, Milton Barney, the nephew of Lem Barney, and Lenny Moore Taylor. Up front, an offensive line which averages 277 pounds, so it's big. It's got some experience, too, with Randy Clark, Pat Saindon of the USFL. This is Badonic. Dwayne Board makes the tackle. Rick Badonic came into camp earlier this week, so this is his first week with the Falcons. He was on the active roster with the Washington Redskins last year and made it to the last cut this year, and it was a numbers game.
And they liked him very much at Washington, and they're very impressed with him here.
They wanted to keep him in Washington. He did, however, tell me yesterday he's not in playing shape right now. And it's hot, 80 degrees. Van Raphorst throws. This one is complete. Up, and it'll be close to a first down for the Falcons. Just shy. Lenny Taylor makes the catch, and he's knocked out of bounds again by Pollard. That's a bad mark, Hank. He had the first down, and they don't give it to him. That's what the crowd is booing about.
And the timing of the pass was perfect. Van Raphorst, and talking to the coaches, the one thing they said about him was the fact that, you know, he's thrown an awful lot of footballs in his young career, and he used to run the run and shoot, threw the ball an awful lot. And the great thing he has is anticipation. There was a great illustration of that anticipation.
Well, it looked like they'd bring the punting team in. Instead, they're going to go for it. Up and over. First down, Falcons. Boy, I'll tell you, that'll get you pumped up if you're a young guy out there fighting against some veterans. McIntosh was the ball carrier, and he flew over the top for the first. Want to welcome those of you who have been watching Chicago beat Minnesota 27-7. Welcome to Atlanta, Georgia. The Falcons have the ball, and they're running a reverse, and it's not going to go anywhere. Dwayne Board was not fooled. He made the tackle on Lenny Taylor. It has been all San Francisco to this point.
It's a good thing Board, number 76, made that play, because there wasn't anybody at all on the backside. He'd have run right up the ramp had he not been tackled by Dwayne Board, number 76.
Tim Brand and Hank Stram with you. 2:58 remaining, first quarter from Atlanta's Fulton County Stadium. San Francisco on its first possession drove the length of the field, attempted a 23-yard field goal, and missed. On the very first Atlanta possession, the first play, they threw an interception. The Falcons came back and could not stop the 49ers, who scored. They missed the extra point, and that's where we are. It's 6-0 San Francisco. So a missed field goal and a missed extra point, and that has been the only mistakes thus far by San Francisco.
You know, Atlanta likes their left tackle very much, Doug Mackey, 6'4", 280. It's amazing how many of these people are 280, 285, 290. And incidentally, Mackey, he owns a pro sports shop in New Jersey, all pro sports shop in New Jersey. That's what he was doing before he got the call.
Fans making a statement of either apathy or protest. We're not quite sure. Big Lawrence Jackson, 64, comes out. He's a little bit banged up. He's at a Presbyterian college, 6'1", 277 pounds. Talking to Jim Hannafin before the ball game, he said Jackson can play. He may stick when this strike is over.
Yeah, he said that he played very well last week, and he's very anxious to see how he's going to play in this game against better competition, but he's got a good chance.
For the Falcons, it'll be third down and a taxi ride. They need 23 yards for the first down.
They got to throw something in the middle to a back or a tight end or inside receiver to where they're playing coverage.
Van Raphorst with time. Underthrown. It wouldn't have been enough for the first down anyway, and they'll have to kick. It was intended for Mike Williams, and it was defended nicely by John Butler, but it was the throw that caused the problem.
Yes, and I think what he was doing on the play, I think he was looking downfield with the anticipation of throwing the ball downfield against that zone, and saw that it wasn't available, hurriedly threw the ball outside. He really wasn't set and threw it low, and it falls incomplete.
So Atlanta will have to kick it away. Daniel McLemore will be deep for the 49ers. He is standing on his own 16-yard line. Good kick. Will hit inside the 10 and roll into the end zone for a touchback. So they'll bring it out to the 20, and that's where San Francisco will have first down. It is a 55-yard punt. You know, these two clubs have hooked up in some great games in the past. Let's go back now and relive one of the most spectacular plays of the series.
49ers in a real prevent defense. Everyone back but three. Barkowski Goes up high in the crowd to the left side. And it's caught by White Shoes Johnson. Did he get in? The clock, touchdown, touchdown.
Boy, that was a classic. You're right, it did look like a punt.
It looked just like a punt coming down there, didn't it?
49ers have Montana at quarterback. If you're just joining us, Cribbs and Craig did start. Russ Francis has started. And Bill Walsh taking no chances since these games do count in the standings. Or at least we are led to believe that they will count. That is now one of the negotiations, or one of the issues in the negotiations, which have now broken off. Roger Craig, not much room in the corner. Russ Francis was injured earlier. We now understand that he has a twisted ankle, but he will return.
Buddy Moore, the defensive right end that time, number 72, reacted well and made the play.
It'll be 3rd and 7 from the 23 for San Francisco. Roger Craig now 10 carries, 48 yards. Craig and Cribbs, the setbacks. Montana with pressure on the backside, throws incomplete. It was intended for Carl Monroe, but good defense by Charles Huff.
And Montana has some stuff on that ball, too. I thought the anticipation was good, but you have to give Charlie Huff, number 28, a lot of credit for coming up and blocking that ball.
Charlie Huff had an interception last week against Pittsburgh. He was signed by San Francisco, then IR'd in '85, and now playing well here. Del Rogers and Gary Moss. Jim Asmus to punt for San Francisco. This will be Gary Moss taken at the 44-yard line. Good coverage by the 49ers. Mike Barajan ran him out of bounds and then went flying over the bench, Hank.
Good reactions. Good reactions. Bill Walsh said a funny thing happened last week, game against the Giants. Before he went out with that young team, he got them all in a tunnel. He said, now listen, we're ready to go, let's go. He took off and started running down the field, looked around, there was nobody there. Went back to get him the second time, and they still were stayed, because I think the guy making the introduction said, wait here until I tell you, so they listened to him rather than Bill Walsh.
What a feeling. He said he looked up in the stands and people were laughing at him.
Yeah, and he couldn't imagine what was going on. He thought the team was behind him, but it wasn't.
Ball start, number 54, offense, first down.
Jerry Markwright, our referee. The umpires, Bob Wagner. Paul Widener is the head linesman. Bob Beeks, the line judge. The back judge is Ben Tompkins. Bill Quinby and Bill Stanley are the side judge and field judge, respectively. So it'll be 1st and 15, the ball on the 38. Coming to the end of the first quarter. Badonic looks for a hole, has one. It closes quickly. He picks up 3. Tom Cousineau, the linebacker, came in quickly after what looked like a hole had opened up. He skated off, got rid of the blocker, and made the hit on Badonic. So that's the end of the first quarter here in Atlanta, Georgia. 6-0, 49ers. Test, Hank.
Combination of both.
Do you think this thing will end soon?
I thought it was. I thought it would. Now I'm not sure. I'm so confused, I don't know what to think.
If you're just joining us, talks have broken off after 6 consecutive days of meetings. 2nd and 8. Van Raphorst throws, and it's incomplete. It was intended for Geno Zimmerlink out of the University of Virginia. 6'3", 222-pounder, but it was high, and he could not reach it.
And Dwayne Board, number 76, put pressure on him, and that's why he threw the ball just a little bit higher than he actually wanted to.
It'll bring up 3rd and 8. And the Falcons have not really been able to man a pretty good drive. Interceptions and punts. Van Rapphorst with time. Throws, has a man. Taylor has a first down for Atlanta. Darryl Pollard rode him down, but not until Taylor had the first down inside the 40.
Give Rapphorst a lot of credit. Watch him hang in there tough. Collins is coming in from the outside. He gets a step on the defensive back. Pollard puts the ball right on the money. A great throw by the young quarterback, Jeff Van Rapphorst.
Lenny Moore Taylor. He was selected in the 4th round by the Packers in 1984. First down and 10. Ball on the 38. Kamana and Badonic are the backs. Van Rapphorst to throw. Complete. Another first down. Sylvester Bird.
The thing that they're doing so well, Tim, is the fact that they're moving the ball around in the pocket. They're throwing play action. They're throwing pocket passes. They're throwing rollout passes. And it's putting different kinds of pressure on the 49er defense.
They say this on paper is the greatest mismatch since 1976 when the Pittsburgh Steelers played Tampa Bay. And yet look at this.
Well,
the Falcons in the second quarter are hanging tough.
We talked about that yesterday, about the emotional aspect of a game. And it's one thing, you tell a bunch of football players, hey, you're no good, or you can't do it, or you can't win. And you watch how they react and how they play.
Kugler gets the sack. Kugler, the 5th-year player out of Penn State, played for the 49ers, left, went to the Philadelphia Stars, and came back. There's another one, Hank. Kugler's had a great pro career, and yet he played most of his career at Penn State behind Matt Millen and Bruce Clark.
Well, there's another great demonstration of getting a lot of rest.
2nd and 16, more pressure. He throws it away. Right now, let's go back to New York. Here's Brent Musburger. Brent?
Well, Tim, replacement ball produces its first overtime. Max Zendejas is 3 of 3 for Green Bay, and as time runs out, he sends the Packers and Detroit into OT. Deadlocked at 16. Tim, your echoes sound beautiful down there.
Yeah, I'll tell you. It is an echo too, Brent. I feel like I'm in a library. Van Rapphorst on 3rd down. The man, he can't bring it in bounds, though, and it won't count. Lenny Taylor was the receiver, and again, Pollard was trailing him in his hip pocket.
He waited just a little bit long to throw the ball to get rid of it. He's looking downfield and suddenly saw him. And by the time he got it out there, he was a little bit too late, and he ran out of football field. It had been great in Canada.
Eric Kramer will be the holder for Greg Davis. Davis out of the Citadel, a rookie. 1 for 1 last week. This is a 48-yard attempt. Snap's good. The hold. The kick is long enough. It's wide right. And so Atlanta comes away without points. We've got 12 minutes and 55 seconds remaining in the half.
In 84, it's easy to understand why they win on the road, because these same teams, be interesting to see how much they've won at home. These teams win all the time, or most of the time anyhow. Doesn't make much difference. I think the good teams win regardless of where they play.
Boy, they're loaded today, too. This is Roger Craig on first down, has a hole and then some. First down, 49ers. Tim Green, the veteran linebacker out of Syracuse, number 99, made the tackle, but another big gain for Craig. Well, I tell you, Craig ought to go up and shake Durrett's hand. He got a great block.
Durrett, number 64, he really did. He got a terrific block.
Tim Green, number 99, academic All-American out of Syracuse. Craig now, 11 carries, 60 yards. First down pass underneath to Ron Heller, and he picks up 6. Again, Tim Green has to come and make the tackle. That's the time remaining in the half.
You know, we talked about Durrett a little while ago. They asked him what he was doing before he got the call. He said, I'd get up every morning at 5:30 and run on the beach. And then after I got through with that, I would work on weights for 3 or 4 hours every day with the hope and expectation that I'd get another chance to get into professional football.
Let me tell you something else about Durrett. He set up a physical fitness program for inmates at the San Francisco County Jail.
I think when he got through, they wanted to block him up.
Boy, that was a classic. You're right, it did look like a punt.
It looked just like a punt coming down there, didn't it?
49ers have Montana at quarterback. If you're just joining us, Cribbs and Craig did start. Russ Francis has started. And Bill Walsh taking no chances since these games do count in the standings. Or at least we are led to believe that they will count. That is now one of the negotiations, or one of the issues in the negotiations, which have now broken off. Roger Craig, not much room in the corner. Russ Francis was injured earlier. We now understand that he has a twisted ankle, but he will return.
Buddy Moore, the defensive right end that time, number 72, reacted well and made the play.
It'll be 3rd and 7 from the 23 for San Francisco. Roger Craig now 10 carries, 48 yards. Craig and Cribbs, the setbacks. Montana with pressure on the backside, throws incomplete. It was intended for Carl Monroe, but good defense by Charles Huff.
And Montana has some stuff on that ball, too. I thought the anticipation was good, but you have to give Charlie Huff, number 28, a lot of credit for coming up and blocking that ball.
Charlie Huff had an interception last week against Pittsburgh. He was signed by San Francisco, then IR'd in '85, and now playing well here. Del Rogers and Gary Moss. Jim Ass missed the punt for San Francisco. This will be Gary Moss. Take it at the 44-yard line. Good coverage by the 49ers. Mike Varijan ran him out of bounds and then went flying over the bench, Hank.
Good reactions. Good reactions. Bill Walsh said a funny thing happened last week, game against the Giants. Before he went out with that young team, he got them all in a tunnel. He said, now listen, we're ready to go, let's go. He took off and started running down the field, looked around, there was nobody there. Went back to get him the second time, and they still were stayed, because I think the guy making the introduction said, wait here until I tell you, so they listened to him rather than Bill Walsh.
What a feeling. He said he looked up in the stands and people were laughing at him.
Yeah, and he couldn't imagine what was going on. He thought the team was behind him, but it wasn't.
Ball start, number 54, offense, first down.
Jerry Markwright, our referee. The umpires, Bob Wagner. Paul Widener is the head linesman. Bob Beeks, the line judge. The back judge is Ben Tompkins. Bill Quinby and Bill Stanley are the side judge and field judge, respectively. So it'll be 1st and 15, the ball on the 38. Coming to the end of the first quarter. Badonic looks for a hole, has one. It closes quickly. He picks up 3. Tom Cousineau, the linebacker, came in quickly after what looked like a hole had opened up. He skated off, got rid of the blocker, and made the hit on Badonic. So that's the end of the first quarter here in Atlanta, Georgia. 6-0, 49ers. Test, Hank.
Combination of both.
Do you think this thing will end soon?
I thought it was. I thought it would. Now I'm not sure. I'm so confused, I don't know what to think.
If you're just joining us, talks have broken off after 6 consecutive days of meetings. 2nd and 8. Van Raaphorst throws, and it's incomplete. It was intended for Geno Zimmerlink out of the University of Virginia. 6'3", 222-pounder, but it was high, and he could not reach it.
And Dwayne Board, number 76, put pressure on him, and that's why he threw the ball just a little bit higher than he actually wanted to.
It'll bring up 3rd and 8. And the Falcons have not really been able to man a pretty good drive. interceptions and punts. Van Rapphorst with time. Throws, has a man. Taylor has a first down for Atlanta. Darryl Pollard rode him down, but not until Taylor had the first down inside the 40.
Give Rapphorst a lot of credit. Watch him hang in there tough. Collins is coming in from the outside. He gets a step on the defensive back. Pollard puts the ball right on the money. A great throw by the young quarterback, Jeff Van Rapphorst.
Lenny Moore Taylor. He was selected in the 4th round by the Packers in 1984. First down and 10. Ball on the 38. Kamana and Badonic are the backs. Van Rapphorst to throw. Complete. Another first down. Sylvester Bird.
The thing that they're doing so well, Tim, is the fact that they're moving the ball around in the pocket. They're throwing play action. They're throwing pocket passes. They're throwing rollout passes. And it's putting different kinds of pressure on the 49er defense.
They say this on paper is the greatest mismatch since 1976 when the Pittsburgh Steelers played Tampa Bay. And yet look at this.
Well,
the Falcons in the second quarter are hanging tough.
We talked about that yesterday, about the emotional aspect of a game. And it's one thing, you tell a bunch of football players, hey, you're no good, or you can't do it, or you can't win. You watch how they react and how they play.
Kugler gets the sack. Kugler, the 5th-year player out of Penn State, played for the 49ers, left, went to the Philadelphia Stars, and came back. There's another one, Hank. Kugler's had a great pro career, and yet he played most of his career at Penn State behind Matt Millen and Bruce Clark.
Well, there's another great illustration of getting a lot of rest.
2nd and 16, more pressure. He throws it away. Right now, let's go back to New York. Here's Brent Musburger. Brent?
Well, Tim, replacement ball produces its first overtime. Max Zendejas is 3 of 3 for Green Bay, and as time runs out, he sends the Packers and Detroit into OT. Deadlocked at 16. Tim, your echoes sound beautiful down there.
Yeah, I'll tell you, it is an echo too, Brent. I feel like I'm in a library. Van Rapphorst on 3rd down. The man, he can't bring it inbounds though, and it won't count. Lenny Taylor was the receiver, and again, Pollard was trailing him in his hip pocket.
He waited just a little bit long to throw the ball to get rid of it. He's looking downfield and suddenly saw him. And by the time he got it out there, he was a little bit too late, and he ran out of football field. It had been great in Canada.
Eric Kramer will be the holder for Greg Davis. Davis out of the Citadel, a rookie. 1 for 1 last week. This is a 48-yard attempt. Snap's good. The hold. The kick is long enough. It's wide right. And so Atlanta comes away without points. We've got 12 minutes and 55 seconds remaining in the half.
In 84, it's easy to understand why they win on the road, because these same teams, be interested to see how much they've won at home. These teams win all the time, or most of the time anyhow. Doesn't make much difference. I think the good teams win regardless of where they play.
Boy, they're loaded today too. This is Roger Craig on first down, has a hole and then some. First down, 49ers. Tim Green, the veteran linebacker out of Syracuse, number 99, made the tackle, but another big gain for Craig. Well, I tell you, Craig ought to go up and shake Durrett's hand. He got a great block.
Durrett, number 64, he really did. He got a terrific block.
Tim Green, number 99, academic All-American out of Syracuse. Craig now, 11 carries, 60 yards. First down pass underneath to Ron Heller, and he picks up 6. Again, Tim Green has to come and make the tackle. That's the time remaining in the half.
You know, we talked about Durrett a little while ago. They asked him what he was doing before he got the call. He said, I'd get up every morning at 5:30 and run on the beach. And then after I got through with that, I would work on weights for 3 or 4 hours every day with the hope and expectation that I'd get another chance to get into professional football.
Let me tell you something else about Durrett. He set up a physical fitness program for inmates at the San Francisco County Jail.
think when he got through, they wanted to block him up.
On second down, Cribbs is close to another first down, and there's Jim Hannafin talking to his big guys on the offensive line for the Falcons.
He told a cute story before the game. He said it's very easy to confuse players. And one player was going to go both ways, and so he wanted to give him a little rehearsal. And went to the locker room and talked to him yesterday, and he said, now remember, Rob, you're going to have to play both offense and defense. And the kid looked at him like he was crazy. He was wound up talking to a tight end who had never played tackle before.
Some of these guys don't know if the ball is pumped or stuffed. This is Craig, and he may have another 49er first down. But it's not only the players, the coaches too are confused. We talked to both coaches, and you know, they're hard-pressed to tell you the backgrounds of some of these kids.
Oh, certainly. They're so busy trying to coach, and they've really done a remarkable job. To think that they went through training camp and got off to a good start, most of them, and then now all of a sudden they're going through another training camp and doing the same teaching process all over again.
Although Neil Dallin was responsible for getting the players for San Francisco, 49ers did a great job of staying in touch with these guys after camp and locking them in when the strike started. Montana with pressure on the backside, throws to Craig. One-on-one. First down, San Francisco. Swamp Fox, Marion Campbell.
Yeah, he's a very realistic guy, very honest, and we talked to him yesterday and the day before, and he's got a good understanding of what the problems are. But he's one of the very outstanding defensive people in the National Football League. Has done a terrific job, and here's the chyron that illustrates the great job that he's done.
Actually, you look at these, and he struggled a little bit, Hank.
Well, he did early, yeah, but I think since that time he's done a good job.
First down from the 32. Joe Cribbs gets a block on the corner, has room, may be gone. Down inside the 15, finally knocked out of bounds by Charles Huff, and he did a fine job just getting over there. And again, Hank, it's Michael Durrett leading the way on the corner. Hard to believe that it's been 7 years since he was the AFC Rookie of the Year, Joe Cribbs. Played at Auburn. In high school, he used to hitchhike from his home some 40 miles to Legion Field to watch Alabama and Auburn play.
Well, he's got great quickness. Better quickness than he has speed.
20-yard pickup makes it first and 10 from the 12. Craig down to the 6.
You know, I had a good visit with Joe Montana yesterday, and he said, I asked him why he came back, and he said, well, he wanted to stay out as long as he possibly could, but he just felt he had to come back, and he said he felt compelled because of the loyalty he had to the DeBartolo's and also to Coach Walsh. He said, they've been very, very good to me, and I felt an obligation to come back.
On 2nd and 4, Montana goes to the corner. Incomplete. Intended for the tight end Ron Heller. Broken up by Gary Moss. Atlanta having an awful tough time stopping the 49ers. The defense, Hank, is a little bit shaky, and it has not been just with the strike players. This has been all season. Look at this.
Yeah, it hasn't been very, very impressive.
Ranked 26 in passing yards, 28th in the league. That's last in completion percentage.
And 28 touchdown passes. Boy, that's murder. I think one of the reasons, Timmy, for that is the fact that, you know, they basically play a zone, and they're going to say you're going to make a mistake before you get down to the other end of the field, and teams are doing a good job of stuffing the ball at them. When most teams are blitzing and putting a lot more pressure, this is the time where people are playing a lot more aggressive defensively than the Falcons.
3rd and 4. Montana with plenty of time. Looks for Clark. Touchdown. When he's got that much time, you've got to believe that he's going to find Dwight Clark.
He's going to find somebody, and he did. Huff was covering on the play. Semi-roll to the right. Again, the important thing, look at the rush, the lack of rush, I should say. And by the time Clark moves around in the end zone, why he's wide open, here's another shot. All the time in the world. Looks left, looks right, looks middle, and he finally throws the ball. Charlie Huff, number 28, is covering on the play.
extra point. Jeff Brockhouse, who has struggled today, finally hits. So with 8 minutes and 47 seconds remaining in the half, San Francisco has the lead. John Kamana are the deep backs. 48 is McIntosh, and he is standing on his own 5-yard line. It'll be a short kick. McIntosh will take it on the 10. To the 20. Out to the 29-yard line, and that's where the Falcons will have it first down. So with 8 minutes and 36 seconds remaining, the lead is 13.
The thing, it goes 4 quarters, remember, Timmy. You'll want to be that before the game's over.
That's Sylvester Bird, number 88, who made the catch, and Darryl Pollard takes him down. Bird, a rookie out of Kansas. I tell you what, we were looking at some of the defensive problems of Atlanta, but look at this. Let's go to the offense. The last 5 games, if you count the final game of the regular season last year, which Turk Schoenert started, look at this, a different quarterback every time out. Archer, Campbell, Kramer last week, Jeff Van Raphorst today.
Well, you talk about continuity or lack of it. That's why the Atlanta Falcons have had so much trouble being successful. They just haven't had the consistency at that position.
Rick Badonic has a nice hole and picks up a good gain.
And they've moved a lot of coaches, too, in the process.
This guy's tough, Hank.
Yeah, I know
Reminds me of Norm Bulash.
I wonder where he's from. I know you like him for him. Where is he from?
Badonic is living in Ohio, went to the University of Maryland where he started and had a fine career.
Yeah, I thought you'd be squeaking a lot about that. I thought we'd hear that all afternoon.
And then he played for the Redskins, and he's a tough, hard-nosed guy. One of their top special team players in Washington. Got caught in the numbers game. They kept Reggie Branch, and Badonic had to walk. I'll tell you an interesting story about Rick Badonic a little bit later when we get some time. Here's 3rd and 1. Badonic. He'll be close to a first down. I think he's got it. Atlanta first down. Pete Kugler made the tackle, but not in time. Everybody here in Atlanta, newspapers, television, have been talking about the lopsided point spread for this game. And they asked Marion Campbell what he thought. He says, I don't watch that. He says, why punish yourself any more than you have to?
Yeah, he had some good lines yesterday, did he?
He really did. He's loose. Badonic on first down. Good balance and made 4 tough yards. Darryl Pollard's the man that tripped him up, and Pollard's been active today. He's out of Weber State. He's only 5'11", 187 pounds.
But he did exactly what you want to do against Badonic. You want to tackle him when he's going sideways. That's what he was doing. He was going east and west instead of north and south, and that's the time to get a shot at him. Hit him straight on. He's murdered.
I mentioned he's like Norm Bulash. He's only 5'8", weighs 217 pounds. Little bowling ball.
Well, he's like trying to tackle a rolling manhole cover.
It was intended for Milton Barney, overthrown by Van Raphorst. Dana McLemore was on the corner. These are the players in Atlanta's stable that have some NFL experience. Randy Clark, of course, a long-time pro. Tim Green crossed the picket line. He's the only one with Costello, however, who is on IR, but Tim Green's the only active one. And then the rest of them have experience. Mike Williams and Joe McIntosh are the setbacks. It's 3rd and 6. Flags fly.
Not anymore. There's a 3rd and 6.
Clyde Glover, 93, came across in a shot. Was he drawn?
Encroachment foul. Number 93, defense, 3rd down.
Glover trying to get the jump, and he got it.
Well, I think he might have thought he was chasing a shoplifter. That's what he did before he got the call. He was shoplift catcher for Kmart. Did you know that?
Said he got some too.
Yeah,
sure.
Yeah, he almost got one there.
Trying to sack shoplifters instead of quarterbacks. Van Raphorst wants to talk it over. He's got a drive going. It's 3rd and 1 when we come back. Back. Incomplete. Intended for John Kamana. Now let's go back. They have, in fact, now broken off. Bob Galliano now the quarterback for the 49ers. Harry Sidney, the ball carrier. He was in there now with Del Rogers. So Bill Walsh, Hank, starts to substitute and play a lot of his replacement players.
And later, I'm sure we'll see some of the option that we saw so much of on Monday night that was engineered so successfully by Mark Stevens, who played his college football at the University of Utah.
Galliano, you saw his background, a fourth-year pro out of Utah State, originally drafted by the Chiefs, was 1 for 1 that first year in the NFL. Ironically, his one pass completion was against the 49ers. 2nd and 7. Has a man and overthrows him.
You know, and ironically, Tim, everybody talks about what a great talent he is and what a terrific prospect, and yet he has never really been given a great opportunity to express that ability.
I covered Galliano in the USFL when he played for the Denver Gold. He was ranked 4th in the Western Conference that year and took Denver to the playoffs.
Yes, and I was referring, of course, to the National Football League.
You meant real football? Is that what you're saying?
National Football League.
Number 63, offense, 2nd down.
Tracy Franz was the man who was nabbed for holding. Coming up next week on CBS College Football, 2nd-ranked Nebraska goes up against Oklahoma State, and that means Thurman Thomas of State. Oklahoma State now 5-0, first time they've done that since 1945, and Thomas had gone over 100 yards 5 straight times. Steve Taylor, what a talent he is for Nebraska. This is Del Rogers, takes the corner, picks up 5. Tim Green makes the tackle, and Tim Green, the veteran for the Falcons, has been busy this afternoon.
You know, Rogers was the number 3 pick by the Packers. In 1982 was on injured reserve, in 83 and 85, and was working in a TV station doing his own show called Rogers Picks, live every Friday at 5:25. He said he had a lot of fun doing that.
I want to know what his percentage is on his picks.
He didn't say anything about that.
Yeah, he was quiet. That's right. 3rd and 12. Galliano looks deep. Almost intercepted. Should have been. Nice coverage on the corner by number 28, Charlie Huff.
And watch all the time he had again. He had all the time in the world. It's surprising that he threw the ball as poorly as he did right into the defensive back's hands. Should have been intercepted, but he had all the time in the world to get rid of the football.
Now, he's a fine-looking corner. He had an interception last week against Pittsburgh. Jim Asmus, number 9, to punt for the 49ers. 23 is Gary Moss, and he's standing on his own 35-yard line for the Falcons. A lot of pressure. Asmus gets off a high spiraling punt. It won't turn over. Moss will fair catch it, and the Falcons will have it on the 36-yard line. So, with 4 minutes and 11 seconds remaining in the half, it's still San Francisco.
And give me a big hug after we score the touchdown. It's fun to see them at that age.
That's a select fraternity of coaches that have won that Super Bowl. It's ironic how many coaches won it after having been there and lost.
Right. Well, I think you know, sometimes you're not careful, especially early in the Super Bowl series. You were so excited and so anxious to get there that you were just pleased unconsciously to be there. Then you realize after it's all over with, listen, the only thing that matters is you win the game. That's the only thing it means. And it wins the game. And the second time back there, I think you play with that feeling.
Those of you in San Francisco, I'm sure interested in that baseball score, 1-1. Here, it is 2nd and 10 Falcons. Kramer hands it off to Miklas, or Miklas rather makes the tackle. But Donick was the ball carrier, as he has been most of the day, Hank. So his legs, which have been off for a couple of weeks now and inactive, getting quite a workout.
Yes, he really has gotten a good workout. And of course, I think the fact that he was able to practice as much as he was able to this week, I think that's helped tremendously also. But it's hot out there today for a guy that really hasn't practiced for a while.
Eric Kramer, the quarterback, was 5 of 13 last week, but he had 2 interceptions. Mike Williams and McIntosh, the setbacks. 49ers show blitz. Now jump off sides. Kramer carrying the play out anyway. Has a completion. but just barely back to the line of scrimmage.
Yep.
Joe McIntosh made the catch. Atlanta's Fulton County Stadium. Tim Brandt, Hank Stram, and it is quiet in here this afternoon. We're still not sure if it's apathy or protest, but the fans did not turn out here in Atlanta. It has been 49ers most of the way. They scored in the first quarter. Roger Craig from 1 yard out, kick failed. And then in the second quarter, Montana found Clark on a 6-yard touchdown pass, and that's where we are. 180 total yards for the 49ers. Roger Craig 70 yards rushing, and Montana with a touchdown toss.
Here's the first shot. Straight ahead, a good surge. Roger Craig goes over the top. And it's a touchdown for the 49ers. Now here's the second touchdown. Joe Montana, all the time in the world. Look at all the time he's got. He looks right, looks left, looks in the middle, and he finally finds Clark, who was wide open in the middle. I don't care who's covering on that kind of a play. You got to be open when you got that much time to throw the ball.
3rd and 9 after the penalty is walked off. Kramer throws, has it incomplete. It was intended for Lenny Taylor, but there was good coverage again by Darryl Pollard, number 36. Boy, Pollard has really been active. He was in preseason camp with 49ers, then started coaching high school football, and that's where he's been until he got the call 2 weeks ago.
He must have been practicing pass defense while he was coaching, because he's done a great job here this afternoon.
Greg Davis, number 5, to punt it away. His last punt was shanked and only went 16 yards. Dana McLemore is deep for the 49ers. Good snap. Still not a very good kick from Davis. McLemore has it on the 30 to the 35, and it'll be downed at the 36-yard line. Herb Spencer made the tackle. San Francisco still leads by 13. Offensive line is still Thomas, Franz, Durrett, and Reach. This is Sidney. Gets a couple.
Harry Sidney, the ball carrier for the 49ers.
Harry Sidney out of the University of Kansas, played for the Denver Gold in the USFL. He played when Galliano was there. Jim Laughlin made that tackle.
The score, Pittsburgh 14, the LA Rams 7.
It'll be 2nd and 7 from the 39.
The Rams are already struggling, aren't they? They're losing 14-7, Pittsburgh.
Boy, we saw New Orleans run all over them last week. Galliano, good fake. Has time, throws deep. Almost intercepted by Mike Lush. It is intercepted. Gary Moss gets the tip. Inside the 40, drops the football, recovered by Atlanta. I'll tell you, it's funny. The ball was on the ground, and Buddy Moore of Atlanta was jumping up and down saying Atlanta recovered, but he was pointing in San Francisco's way.
Yeah, here we go. Watch this now. Take a draw play. And he throws the ball with the anticipation, I guess, of hitting the receiver in the middle area.
Tip drill. Good play by Lush.
But a great play by Lush is right. Number 34.
Gary Moss. Kramer going deep, has a man. Incomplete. It was intended for Speedy Gonzalez, Leon Gonzalez. Remember him from the Dallas Cowboys? And Dana McLemore was back there covering, but I think Gonzalez had a step on McLemore.
Waited too long to get rid of the football. That's the difference in these games, especially with the young receivers and young quarterbacks. The timing can't be as good as it normally would be, and as a result, just a fraction of a second too late makes all the difference in the world.
First down.
Holding called against Doug Mackey. So they'll move the Falcons back, and that doesn't help them at all. Remember, Gonzalez drafted in the 11th round by the Cowboys in 1985. And I think it was Tom Landry that nicknamed him Speedy. Obviously, no originality there, but he is quick. 1st and 20 at the 50. Kramer has some pressure, gets it to Badonic, and Badonic stumbles to the 47-yard line, so he may have lost 2 yards. George Cooper, the linebacker, scraped off to make the tackle.
The stop for San
There's a shot of Eric Kramer. He played last week, and it looked like he played pretty well, too, and looking at the films, Tim. And we asked the coaches why they're making a switch today, and they said, well, both of these young quarterbacks really are capable of maybe being a third quarterback, so we want to make sure we give them both an equal look. But there you see Kramer with the New Orleans Saints initially, and now with the Atlanta Falcons.
He was the 1986 Atlantic Coast Conference Player of the Year. 2nd and 23. They run the waggle, and he's got a whole lot of problems. Gets out of bounds just barely. Matt Courtney was trying to keep him in bounds for San Francisco.
And Kramer was mentoring at his alma mater, helping with the coaching at North Carolina State when he got the call to come back out of retirement and try out for the Atlanta Falcons.
They think highly of him in Wolfpack country. It'll be 3rd and 23. The ball on the 47. We've got 1 minute and 6 seconds remaining in the first half.
If they could somehow, some way score, it could be a much better game in the second half than we thought it was going to be.
Plus, they've been listening to these people down here all week. The Falcons have. Everybody's saying there will be no contest. San Francisco will blow them out if they could score, Hank. Boost their confidence.
Why, certainly.
Kramer, bad pass.
And I talked to Jim Hannafin before the game, and I said, what do you think about your chances? He said, you know how we are as coaches. We always think we got a chance. We're always optimistic. Anything can happen. Sure, we got a chance to win. You love the spirit of Jim Hannafin.
Sparse crowd, which came in support, I guess, of these replacement players, now starting to boo. Didn't like that pass thrown by Kramer. This is Greg Davis out of the Citadel, and number 43 is Dana McLemore standing on his own 20-yard line. It's not a very good punt. McLemore lets it hit. It gets an Atlanta bounce, and it'll be downed on the 22-yard line. Let's go back to New York. Brent Musburger has an update. Brent.
They came in just in time to make the ride to New Orleans, but they didn't practice.
If anything, they were disruptive. And look at this. 49ers are cooking. Del Rogers takes it all the way out across the 42-yard line. They'll mark it at the 44. Del Rogers, a third-year pro out of Utah. It's 1st and 10. 49ers at the 43. Rogers. Not much. Good play on the corner. And again, it's Charlie Huff who makes the tackle.
And Mike Durrett, number 64, was out there in front pulling on the play and got a great block out in front.
That makes Huff's play even more impressive, because Huff's not a big guy. 5'11", 100. 30 seconds remain in the half, and it's 2nd and 8, 49ers. Falcons have to keep him out of the end zone before the half. Keep this somewhat close. Galliano going deep. And it's complete. Terry Greer made the catch at the 5-yard line. And Jerome Norris, the defender, 26 out of Furman, was right in his hip pocket. But Greer made an outstanding catch, 50-yard pickup.
Look at this. It's bump and run without a bump. He runs right back, and then his double coverage. Terry Greer right over the top of Jerome Norris.
Boy, Norris is in his hip pocket, too,
yes,
Coach.
Right there. But he never looks for the ball. He never sees the ball and comes right over the top and drops like it's going right in the well, and he makes the catch. Beautiful, beautiful throw by Galliano.
Yeah, but part of that's inexperience. When that receiver looks back, he's got to look back.
He's supposed to look back, but he didn't that time, and that's why they didn't knock the ball down.
23 seconds now. Galliano going for it all. Touchdown, San Francisco. And again, it's Greer in the corner.
Touchdown, Greer for San Francisco.
Here it is, automatic against this bump and run, throws it right over the top. The important thing is he throws it away from the defensive back, who is Charlie Huff, number 28. You've got to throw that ball on the outside. He takes a 3-step drop, pops it right over the top, wide open touchdown for the San Francisco 49ers.
Just a timing pattern. Huff's got to get up on that receiver and bump him off the line. Cannot let him get past, especially in that situation.
And he's got to bump him with the inside arm, in that particular case the right arm, so that he still, if he misses him, still recover, because the rest of the body still has a chance to recover on the play.
Brockhouse hits the extra point, and the 49ers are blowing it wide open. Well, we just talked about the importance of San Francisco staying out of the end zone if Atlanta was going to have any chance. Next play they hit Greer, and then they come back with the touchdown pass to Greer. 20-0 San Francisco. 18 seconds now remaining in the first half.
And I'm sure we'll see the option some in the second half, because it's smart to do it that way too, Timmy, because if you use the option in the first half, they have a chance at halftime to make adjustments. If they don't see it, they can't make adjustments, and then if they do see it in the second half, they have to make those adjustments on the run, which makes it more difficult.
Dallas rolls over Philadelphia 41-22. St. Louis beats New Orleans. That surprises me a little bit. Look at San Diego over Tampa Bay. Miami big over the Chiefs.
Boy, that's murder, isn't it?
Detroit 19-16 over Green Bay. That's in overtime. And New England beats Buffalo. Houston 15, Cleveland 10. Indianapolis was favored. They beat the Jets, and Chicago beat Minnesota 27-7. So a few surprises in there, I guess, if you can say surprises. Jim Asmus kicks off. This is McIntosh. And the Falcons have the ball at the 27.
42 Williams on the carry for that.
They knew coming in they were up against it, and their hope was keeping it close at the half. Faces tell the story.
Yeah, Campbell said that. I said, what hope do you have of winning this football game? And he said, well, our only hope really is for the plane to come in very, very late.
Yeah, the plane didn't. They were here early. Kramer could be the last play of the half. Going deep and throws it out of bounds. So with 4 seconds, 3 seconds now, they'll have another shot. One more play for the Falcons. It was intended for Lenny Taylor, and obviously they were hoping for the tip. Darryl Pollard was one of the defenders back there, along with a whole host of 49ers.
Rod Howard told a funny story. In fact, that he said he just got through talking about his sight adjustment to one of his receivers, and they ran the play, and he blew the cover, blew the pattern, and he went over to him, started to chew him out, and the player was already talking to his pal, and he said, I was all set, I understood what he was trying to do, except for the quarterback called a long count. By the time he called it, I forgot to play.
Last play of the half, interception by Courtney. Matt Courtney up the midfield looking for some blockers, and that'll be it. So Courtney makes the interception, and he threatens. Steve Griffin made the tackle, and San Francisco leads 20-0 at the half. McIntosh. He has no chance. Touchback, they'll bring it out to the 20. The story of the game, here it is. We told you the rushing yards. 122 yards passing from Montana and Galliano, just 51 for the Falcons. Total yards, 261. 56 for Atlanta. It's a mismatch, Hank.
And look at on first down. 9.5 for the San Francisco 49ers, and a half a yard on first down for Atlanta. That tells the whole story right there.
14 49ers came back this past week. Roger Craig scored in the first quarter. Montana hit Clark in the second. And then Galliano hit Greer for the touchdown, and that's where we are. This is Badonic for Atlanta. Just underway, second half.
Badonic, the ball carrier for the Falcons.
Quite frankly, Hank, I was surprised when they took Van Rapport down at quarterback and put in Kramer. Kramer struggled while he was in.
Yes, and I think, of course, evidently they saw what they wanted to see of Van Rapport, because they said going into the game they wanted to take a look at both quarterbacks, because they're trying to make a decision. If the player limit goes up, perhaps one of these two quarterbacks could stay with his team, and they're trying to make that decision right now, I think.
This is Rick Badonic. He's a competitor who does not believe the game is over.
Rick Badonic, the ball carrier for the Atlanta Falcons.
Joe Montana was 4 for 7, 46 yards today, and he hit Dwight Clark for a touchdown, and Clark was foxy like an old-time veteran when he made that touchdown catch. He had 2 catches for 27 yards today.
And I talked to Montana, and I'll talk about this in the next series.
First and 10 from the 32. Zimmerlink goes to the slot. The lone setback. Badonic. And it's Badonic, the ball carrier. Gets the corner, picks up a couple. There are flags. Matt Courtney came up and made the tackle. The free safety at Idaho State.
You know, talking to Montana, I said I heard one of the stipulations for you to come back. You told Coach Walsh that you would come back only on the basis.
Holding number 92, offense, first down.
Only on the basis that I will not have to run the option if I come back.
I don't know if it's true, but I read where they had him working out with it.
Yeah, they were playing around with it. He laughed about it. He said, we were playing around with it, but no way in the world I'm gonna run it. And I said, what about playing with an offensive line like the one you have now? I said, does it bother you a little bit? You worry about getting hurt? He said, nothing whatsoever. Not at all. I know these guys were in camp. I know they're going to do the best job they can. And he was exactly right, because he was not sacked at all in the first half.
Holding against Lenny Taylor moves it back. It's 1st and 15 Atlanta. Again, it's Badonic who gets tied up with Kramer. And that is sloppy.
It looked like he was trying to go through a revolving door that time between he and the quarterback. A bad-looking play, bad exchange between a quarterback and the halfback, Badonic.
Kramer right now does not look like the ACC Player of the Year from 1986 as Badonic leads the ball game.
Well, you never do when a back runs into you like that and the mesh is so bad. So wonder he didn't get knocked out of the ball game.
Mike Williams and Gino Zimmerlink now are the setbacks for the Falcons. It'll be 2nd and 15 as Kramer comes under center. With time. Goes across the middle, and it's not even close. It was intended for Leon Gonzalez. And Jeff Fuller was the strong safety, and he almost had an interception. Kramer looks weak. His throws are coming up short, Hank.
Well, isn't that funny? And yesterday out of practice and the day before practice, talking to the coaches, the one thing they kept talking about was the fact that he had such a very, very strong arm and good anticipation, how impressive he looked. And yet in this game so far, he has not demonstrated any kind of real strength in the arm.
3rd and 15, the ball on the 27. He'll need a strong arm here. Plenty of time. Taylor down to the 45-yard line of San Francisco. First down, Atlanta. George Cooper was the linebacker covering.
That happened, Timmy, because at that time he had plenty of time to throw the ball. Watch this now. They got a 4-man rush, playing man for man, playing a zone defense, short man for man. Look at, they're going down the field. You don't see the protection. He breaks to the outside. The ball is right on the money. And Darryl Pollard, number 36, is involved in the coverage. And making the tackle was Cooper.
Lenny Taylor was selected in the 4th round by the Packers in 1984.
First down.
Play stands. Lenny Taylor's 28-yard gain will stand. It'll be first down. Atlanta on the 45. 11 minutes, 55 seconds remaining, 3rd period.
I was just going to say, Tim, don't get too close. You got those fever blisters. I don't want to get them.
Playing hurt today. You're a piece of work. Kramer, intended for Zimmerlink, overthrown. We've talked about the attendance here. We don't have the figure, but we know it's sparse. We can almost count them on our hands. But take a look at some of the earlier games. Dallas with 40,000 plus. That's the biggest crowd post-strike in the league.
And they really like their new team. They really do in Dallas.
Well, the attendance looks like it's picked up a great deal all over. St. Louis is down 11,795. We had 29,000 plus in New Orleans last week.
And the fans in New Orleans were ecstatic about their young team last week.
They were chanting "Stay on strike" as Tom Benson danced. 2nd and 10 from the 45. Badonic picks up 3. He's had tough going today. Doug Miklas, the first-year player out of Portland State, came across to make the tackle, along with Ron Hadley.
Well, you're making a half a yard on first down. It's got to be tough for the running back. Looks like he's going through a thrashing machine. The blocking up front has not been that impressive.
Had a long talk with Rick Badonic in the locker room yesterday, and he was talking about how tough it was to come back. As a matter of fact, Clint Didier stood up in one of the Redskin meetings, and the Redskins had not had anybody cross, and they said all these big money players that have gone back in. How about Rick Badonic? He was cut. He hadn't gone back yet. We want him back on the roster. Badonic said it was the next day Atlanta called, and he had to think a long time before he decided to come back in. Gonzalez has the completion. Depending on the mark, it may be another Atlanta first down.
And he had plenty of time that time, Timmy, in that he moved the pocket, rolled out to his left, had plenty of time to see, and also plenty of time to throw the ball. Reception. Now they're going to measure for the first down.
Gonzalez out of Bethune-Cookman, third-year pro. He's only 5'10", 160 pounds. Just that far for the first. So it'll be 4th and inches for Atlanta. First down, Falcons. Joe McIntosh has it. McIntosh, number 48, first-year player out of NC State.
He got off the ball in a good shape that last time. Henley got off the ball in good shape, and it got a good surge. Watch the left side of the offensive line. They get a good push. A good lead block by Badonic, number 33. And he goes through the hole and makes the necessary yardage for the first down. That's one of the best surges they've had all afternoon.
Established a new line of scrimmage in 49er territory.
Look at the rule.
Niners jump. Flags fly. Look like Glover again. He's already been across once today. Big number 93. These are the 49ers that came back into camp. The stars indicate guys that have been to the Pro Bowl. Now, as you look at this list, and it is indeed impressive, I'll tell you that on the other side of the line of scrimmage in the Atlanta Falcons camp, Costello and Green crossed. Costello's IR. Tim Green is the only veteran playing. So it's pretty much a mismatch.
Yeah, it really is. And of course, now
they want 15 seconds on the game clock.
Loyally to the people here with the Atlanta Falcons, which is unusual.
Again, there are flags as Badonic carries. He's greeted quickly by Doug Mikolas. And another thing about Tim Green, Hank, is how impressive a guy he is when you sit and talk with him. He's very squared away, very articulate, academic All-American at Syracuse. And he tried to really emphasize the fact that this was a business decision. It had nothing to do with football. He looked at it. He weighed the pros and cons. He looked at the issues he didn't agree with. So he came back.
Well, Joe Montana also said the same thing. He said he felt he wanted to stay out with the other veterans, but finally he had to make a decision, an economic decision. He said he really never recovered from the last strike. Financially, I'm talking about.
When I was talking to Mike Ken before the game out on the picket line, he was talking about how Green made a bad decision. Obviously, he doesn't agree with what Tim Green did.
Well, I think players should have a choice. They can do what they want. They can either play or not play, but they shouldn't begrudge the other guy for doing what he thinks is best for him.
First down, Falcons. Kramer with pressure backside has running room. Instead throws complete. Inside the 10 to the 5-yard line goes John Kamana. John Kamana, number 47. His nickname is Squeeze. We asked him how he got the nickname. He said that was handed down by his grandfather. The story goes that he couldn't afford lunch when he was going to school, so he...
Number 53.
Yeah, they're going to tag on more.
Half the distance to the goal. First down.
Face mask.
Well, watch Clyde Glover coming in number 93 on the left side of your screen. Watch him on the outside. See, he steps up. They're driving beyond the pocket. He steps up nicely, maintains his poise, and delivers the ball on the move. Escapes from the pocket and delivers the ball right on the money, and it's a first down for the Atlanta Falcons.
Hank, we're getting serious now. The Falcons are getting inside the 5, and it's 1st and goal. But I want to tell you this Kamana story because it's it's a classic. 1st and goal at the 2.
Oh, the
Donick.
action.
Touchdown, Atlanta. A 3-yard run from the former Maryland Terrapin.
A split the option play without anybody diving. He options off of 99. Look at this. And he just puts his head down, his shoulders down, and runs right through Hadley. And also Matt Cotney, and goes in for the touchdown.
Extra point is good. And the Falcons have 7.
Here we see him again. He goes down the line of scrimmage and options, dumps the ball off to Donick, and he goes in for the touchdown.
How about Marion Campbell using the option?
Yep.
This is Del Rogers. And Rogers carries it out to the 23-yard line. That's where the 49ers will set up camp. Herb Spencer made the tackle for Atlanta.
Struggy Smith that time covering on the kickoff did a good job of getting down there very quickly, and I asked him, why do they call you Struggy? He said, my grandmother when I was a baby used to carry me around, and I always was trying to struggle out of her arms and out of the buggy, so they started to call me Struggy, and then they called me Struggy Buggy. They finally dropped the buggy, but now I'm still Struggy.
I wanted to tell you about John Kamana, why they call him Squeeze. We'll get to that yet. Couple of yards by Sidney. Don't forget, coming up next week on CBS Sports, next Saturday at 2nd-ranked Nebraska, the Cornhuskers going to Cowboy country, the Oklahoma State Cowboys. That'll be next week. Get a good look at Thurman Thomas and Steve Taylor. Well, we've been talking a lot today about Thurman Thomas, his 5 straight 100-yard games. But what about Steve Taylor, Hank?
Oh, he's a terrific, one of the great backs in the country.
Got those quick feet.
Yes, he has.
Great vision, too.
Lightning speed, good eyes, good balance.
That's right. You talk about running an option.
Yeah, he's got good eyes, good vision.
2nd and 9 from the 25. Galliano in trouble. He's tagged, and he may have lost a yard. Good pressure backside. Dwayne Morris and Mark Studaway both had the beat on him. San Francisco leading Atlanta 20-7. Now, we cannot emphasize enough that these games right now are said to count in the standings. San Francisco 2-1 right now. New Orleans also 2-1. But New Orleans did lose. That is a final. And the Rams over Pittsburgh. So this is the way it looks. New Orleans drops to 2-2. The 49ers about to go to 3-1. And Atlanta right now 1-2. But in a whole lot of trouble now. Galliano's the one in trouble. And he goes down inside the 15. We may have spoken too soon. The Falcons starting to get fired up. That's Buddy Moore, number 72, with a sack.
Well, they got to be careful. Watch Buddy Moore, number 72, right in the middle of your picture, comes right up the middle and finally makes the sack on Galliano.
'49ers have to punt it away.
They got to be careful. They get this crowd in the game, and even though there's not that many here, they could get back emotionally involved in this contest and make it a game.
Asmus the punt.
Oh, what a kick.
This is Gary Moss. Falcons will have good field position. Tries to get a block. He loses a couple, takes it back inside the 40. Well, Atlanta showing some life, trailing 20-7, but with plenty of time left.
What happened in the first half?
2nd and 8, that could be one of the ugliest passes I've ever seen. He must have been hit. Dwayne Board must have gotten in there quickly and hit Kramer as he released the ball, because that looked, I've seen punts look better than that.
It looked like he threw it upside down. All right, here's the first 49er touchdown. Over the top goes Craig, 33. And the San Francisco 49ers go ahead by a touchdown. Here's Montana. Now watch Montana roll to his right. Look at all the time he's got. All the time in the world. Looks left, looks right, looks in the middle. Hits Clark wide open in the end zone for the touchdown.
Clark had adjusted his pattern. Montana found him. This is Kramer. And Kramer's pass is incomplete. And, of course, Bob Galliano replaced Joe Montana.
And now here's a third touchdown. Galliano, Greer, bump and run, over the top, touchdown. Another touchdown for the 49ers. They make it look easy.
And Rick Badonic on a 3-yard run put the Falcons on the board. Adam McLemore. Again, it's not a very good punt. It rolls down to the 25, and so it gets an Atlanta bounce, and it'll be down at the 24-yard line. Greg Davis not having an outstanding day as a punter. 20-7, San Francisco. Clark back in the ballgame along with Terry Greer. Harry Sidney makes the catch from Galliano. And these are the standings in the NFC East. Dallas on top. Washington about to join them, and Philadelphia stumbles. And then St. Louis evened its record at 2-2, and the Giants now. Boy, Hank, what a situation. Here's a team, wins the Super Bowl, comes back with aspirations of repeating. Everybody says, look, this is a team that can do it, and now they'll be 0-4.
You have to feel some compassion for Bill Parcells and his coaching staff after having a great year. To start off 0-4, boy, that's tough.
Del Rogers takes it up close to a first down. It looks like San Francisco will have enough. Now the NFC Central. Keep you updated on the scores. San Diego over Tampa Bay, 17-13. Detroit 19, Green Bay 16. We'll see Green Bay next week. Chicago over Minnesota. Mike Ditka's guys look strong as we look at the standings in the NFC Central. Chicago 4-0.
Well, they're a class by themselves. They're an excellent football team, a lot of great talent, and even under those conditions, why they're still going to win, which is very obvious, along with the Raiders in the AFC.
Walsh now starting to bring back his regulars. Russ Francis comes back into the ball game. Clark is in. This is the give to Harry Sidney. Bounces outside, has some room. First down, San Francisco.
I like what Walsh is doing. I like what he's doing because it's very obvious. He's not going to take any chances. They got a touchdown. He wants to get that touchdown back and get control of this football game because, you know, right now they're only 2 plays away from getting back in the ball game, and you got to be concerned.
Russ Francis jumped too early, so they moved the 49ers back. Francis left the game earlier with a twisted ankle. This is the first action he's had since that first quarter. Limbo Parks comes into the ball game replacing Michael Durrett. He's a story. 285-pounder, 6'3", worked in the off-season or 2 weeks ago delivering pizzas. And if you look at Limbo, looks like he ate a lot of them.
I guarantee he ate a lot more than he delivered the way it looks.
Again, they jumped, no flags though. Sidney has no room.
Sidney on the carry for San Francisco.
Dwayne Morris came up and made the tackle. Hank, as we look at the sidelines, we've been talking about Marion Campbell, we've been talking about Bill Walsh, but there are a lot of former head coaches down there on the sidelines as assistants.
Well, actually, in the stadium, there's 7. Can you imagine that? 7 head coaches. Everything ought to be a lot more confusing than it is with 7 of us in the stadium.
Galliano on 2nd and 11. Intended for Clark, incomplete.
And I'll mention the 7. Walsh, Campbell, Hannafin, Hecker, Dowhauer, McVay, and myself. 7. Head coaches or former head coaches in this stadium here this afternoon.
That's a load. Isn't it? A lot of egos in here.
A lot of wins and a lot of losses.
Hey, you're right about that.
You bet.
A couple of Super Bowl wins. Montana being the courier pigeon, sending in the signals. Del Rogers and Harry Sidney, the setbacks.
And Montana came back. They said, looks like a game a little weight. He said, yes, a game 3 pounds.
Galliano with time. The ball's in the air. Incomplete. Almost intercepted.
Watch the replay, play action. And there you see the ricochet. Buddy Moore, 72, gets the ricochet, gets his hands up there in good shape, and knocks the ball up into the air.
Dwayne Morris almost had the INT. 4th and 11. They've got to punt it away so the Falcons get it back. If it wasn't blocked, it was shanked. It goes out at midfield. Jim Asmus, not a very good punt. Was it blocked?
It looked like from that angle it was going to be blocked. Had they taken the right angle, Timmy, it would have been blocked. They got a little bit too deep, and I think he got the ball off.
Well, it affected him one way or the other. It's only a 17-yard punt.
No, they didn't touch it, but had they taken about a shot at it about a yard and a half out in front, as you know, they might have had a chance to block it.
Charles Huff was coming in quickly. I'll guarantee you, though, it put Asmus' head on a swivel. He saw him come in and shank the punt 17 yards. So Atlanta now has good field position, 1st and 10 at the 49. Kramer. Across the middle, it's complete. Inside the 30 to the 28-yard line. Gonzalez makes the catch. He was working on the linebacker, Cousineau, and that's a mismatch. Gonzalez can outrun him anytime.
And again, throwing the ball right across the middle. And again, look at all the time he's got. Play action fake. He steps up into the pocket nicely, good concentration, and delivers it right on the money. You can't throw it any better than that. And when you're running a crossing pattern, you want to make sure that you throw the ball from the head down, so make sure you catch it at the numbers. So if it don't catch it, it doesn't bounce up into the air. Catching it to numbers will make it go down to the turf in case you don't block it.
Gonzalez was working in the seam. It's a 30-yard pickup. Kramer takes the corner now. He'll run out of bounds, but not until he gets the first down. The crowd likes that. Doug Miklas ran him out of bounds. Good heady play by Kramer. Some of the scores in the AFC. This is the East. Miami big over Kansas City. New England beats Buffalo. And Indianapolis 6-0 over the Jets. So this is the way the standings are then. In the AFC East, the Jets, the Colts, the Dolphins, and the Patriots all at 500 now. Here in Atlanta, Hank, it's 1st and 10 at the 18 Atlanta. Badonic, the lone setback. And he carries it inside the 15 to the San Francisco 14-yard line.
You like the way Badonic gets off the ball. He's quick.
He explodes. He's got that low center of gravity. Cousineau made the tackle.
He's got those short, strong, powerful legs and has good follow-through. He follows through extremely well.
Second and 7 from the 15. Pressure. And Kramer throws it away.
And did he get hit by Jeff Fuller, number 49? Well, he really took a shot. Watch the shot. Fuller, Jeff Fuller, number 40. Now watch him come up here. He was in the process of flying in, making a play, and of course, he's live bait once he gets out of that pocket and acts like he's going to run the football.
And Fuller committed himself, and a man was open for the Falcons down by the goal line. Fuller playing that corner, playing that side of the zone. Once he came up to run support because he thought Kramer had gotten outside containment, then the man was open. He just couldn't get the ball to him. So it'll bring up 3rd and 7 at the 15.
They got a lot of room on that left side again. Sack.
The ball's loose, but they said he was well within the grasp of Clyde Glover before the ball was loose, so it is a sack. It'll bring up 4th down, and Atlanta will have to attempt a field goal.
Clyde Glover, number 93 on the right side. Watch him come into the picture. He gets the first shot, and then they gang up on him, of course, but Glover is the first one to make the contact and make the sack.
Greg Davis. A 42-yard attempt. It's long enough, and it's good. Greg Davis, the rookie out of Citadel. Gets Atlanta 3 more, and so the Falcons edging ever so slowly back into this ball game with 47 seconds remaining in the third quarter, Hank.
About the decision later. You got to win the game first.
Mike Barajan has the kick for the 49ers, and he bangs his way out to the 23. He was impressive Monday night. We haven't seen him here much today, but Mike Barajan on the return, number 48.
They got to make something happen here. The 49ers I'm talking about. They got to keep control of the football and get some points, or they could be in trouble.
Number 28, kicking team, re-kick.
Offsides against Charles Huff of Atlanta, so they're going to kick it again. That'll bring Barajan back in. Barajan was in camp with Tampa Bay, played at Toledo. When he was at Toledo, he started at free safety for a couple years. Then they brought him back and moved him to fullback.
Let's see what happens.
Again, Greg Davis has a high kick, rather short, and it's taken by Harry Sidney at the 15. Sidney explodes out to the 37-yard line. Roger Craig comes back into the ball game now for the 49ers. Dwight Clark comes back for the 49ers. And so does Joe Montana at quarterback. So they're bringing the starters back. You're right.
It's exactly what I would have done. Exactly. Get the troops back in there. Make sure you win the game.
Ron Heller and Russ Francis, 2 tight ends, 25 seconds remaining, third period.
Look around the room on this left side.
Crowd boos that the regulars are back in. Roger Craig takes it out near midfield, flags fly. Lindell Jones, number 30, and Mike Lush, 34, made the tackle. Here's the call.
Face mask foul. Number 34, defense. First down.
Here's that counter play again with the off guard and the off tackle pulling on the play. Craig goes to the outside. A good block on the inside by the pulling guard, which is Mark Cochran, number 66.
Then the face mask, you can see that, so they tag it on some more. And the starters have had immediate impact for San Francisco. First down on the 46. Fake to Craig. Montana with time. Francis down to the 30-yard line of the Falcons. Jim Laughlin makes the tackle. And that's the end of the third quarter. With a score, San Francisco 20, Atlanta 10. And we now pause for a word from your local station. The setbacks. Joe Montana, the quarterback. This is Cribbs. First down, 49ers. Gary Moss made the tackle, or he may have been gone.
Kevin Reach, the left guard, number 65, made a great block. Watch this. Right on the linebacker. He runs right by him. But Reach knocks him right down like a sack of potatoes for the big gain.
It'll be first and 10 from the 17.
Look at all the room on that left side. They're ripping him.
Roger Craig bangs his way down to the 10-yard line. Cranack makes the tackle there.
Watch it from ground level. A simple draw play. There's good penetration. Look at the way he covers the ball up to make sure that he doesn't fumble and lose possession. Goes right through that thrashing machine and picks up another nice gain in the play.
Boy, Montana's so smooth in there. They just start working when he comes back in.
He makes it happen. He makes it happen.
You want to admire his style, not analyze it. Second and 4 from the 11. Craig to the 5-yard line.
Michael Durrett, that time the right guard. They get off the ball in good shape, number 64. Watches the right guard and right tackle. They go right through there in good shape. A nice hole. And look at it, the important thing. Look at the way he covers the ball up. Covers the ball up in traffic.
Hank, you know, Montana almost accepted a basketball scholarship to NC State rather than the football scholarship he took to Notre Dame. You don't think that would have affected the NFL record books? He came close. First and goal from the 5. Craig loses. Charles Huff penetrated. Number 28 made the tackle, and they'll lose a couple of yards.
Safety blitz. Charles Huff. Charles Huff, number 28, safety blitz. In this kind of a play, you can't get penetration. You get penetration, you're in trouble. There you see him, gets the penetration and makes the tackle into the end zone on Craig, number 33. Great play by Huff, 28.
Loses 3, Hank. It'll be 2nd and goal from the 8. Two tight ends, Heller and Francis. Montana looks for Clark. Now he's going to be sacked. Tim Green, the veteran who crossed the line, also crossed the 49ers line for the sack.
Watch Tim Green, number 99. Joe looks to his left, in the middle. Look at all the time. Here's Green in the middle of your picture. Gets a piece of him, finally gets a sack. Tim Green, number 99, played his collegiate football at Syracuse.
It'll be 3rd and goal from the 17. Cribbs. Not going to get there. Jerome Norris knocked him out, but it'll bring up 4th and goal, and Cribbs is slow getting up.
Kevin Reach, the left guard. Boy, he gets out there in good shape and gets a block. Watch the left guard, Kevin Reach, 65, on the reverse. Watch him out in front. See if you see him in the picture. There you see him getting the push downfield. Does a great job of blocking downfield. Kevin Reach, number 65. He made it possible.
Well, I tell you, Cribbs and Norris met at the party head-to-head. Both were slow getting up.
He just raised his hand to verify the block.
Jeff Brockhouse to attempt a 20-yard field goal for the 49ers. It's up and it's good. We want to welcome those of you who have been watching the Redskins and Giants to Fulton County Stadium here in Atlanta, where the San Francisco 49ers have just taken a 23-10 lead over the Falcons. But this game was supposed to be a terrible mismatch, and the Falcons are hanging tough. For those of you just joining us, we want to repeat that 14 veterans for the 49ers crossed the picket lines this past week, and they started this game. It has been 49ers most of the way. 3 first-half touchdowns. Let's go back now, Hank Stram, and let's look at that first one. It was Craig who scored from 1 yard out.
Watch him go right over the top here. A good surge by the offensive line. Watch him go over the top and barely crosses the goal line. There he is. He crosses the plane. Touchdown. Here's the second touchdown. Watch all the time Montana has. Rolling to his right. Stops. Looks left. Looks middle. Looks right. And then he throws the ball inside to Clark for the touchdown. Touchdown number 2 for the San Francisco 49ers.
6-yard strike there. Then Galliano came in and replaced Montana.
And he throws one over the top to Greer. Man-for-man coverage, throws it beautifully away from the defensive back. Touchdown, 49ers.
And Rick Bodanik scored for Atlanta to make it 20-7. They got a field goal, it was 20-10, and San Francisco has just scored again. Asmus kick hits at the 12, rolls inside the 10. Mike Williams picks it up there. And so the Falcons will be backed up. Poor field position. Now, I mentioned that a lot of the 49ers had come back in, and this is why we thought it would be such a terrible mismatch as we came into this ball game. Now, those red stars indicate the players that have been to the Pro Bowl, and it is an impressive list. They all came back last week. Now, I want you to look at the Atlanta Falcons. 2 players crossed. Costello cannot even play, is on the injured reserves. Tim Green, the linebacker, is the only one that came in. So, in essence, it is a group of time-tested veterans who have been very successful in the NFL going against these replacement or substitute players for the Falcons.
But you got to remember, too, Tim, that after they went ahead 20-0, they took a lot of the top people out of the ball game and let Atlanta kind of get back in the game.
Kramer gone deep. And it's a good thing it was overthrown. We've had 11 minutes and 38 seconds remaining in the ball game here, and our attendance in Atlanta is 8,684. There are 24,208 no-shows, so it is a quiet, sparse crowd. Some of the NFC West scores. St. Louis beat New Orleans today, 24-19. The Rams lead Pittsburgh. And as it stands right now, take a look at the standings. 49ers about to go 3-1 if this score stands. 2nd and 10 from the 8. Kramer, the quarterback for the Falcons. With time, throws deep, incomplete. It was intended for Leon Gonzalez, number 89. Dana McLemore was covering for the 49ers. Those of you that were watching the Redskins-Giants game, Redskins evidently strong. Bobby Beathard has done an outstanding job getting talent back into camp for the Redskins because Hank, not one player has crossed for the Redskins. St. Louis wins. Dallas wins over Philadelphia. So you look at the NFC East scores. As it stands right now, Washington about to go 3-1, Dallas 3-1, and the Giants falling out of the picture. 6 defensive backs for San Francisco on 3rd and 10. A lot of pressure on Kramer. Safety. Jeff Fuller, number 49, the strong safety, came clean on the blitz. They get the sack and the safety.
Ryan Lever replay on this one. Watch 49. Look at 49. Fuller get a good beat on the quarterback and makes the tackle. Safety for the 49ers. Jeff Fuller, number 49, comes in to your left side of the screen, comes in clean on a stunt. They didn't anticipate the safety blitz, and he makes the sack.
Or the free kick, rather, following the safety. This is Dana McLemore. Dana McLemore puts the Jets on and takes it out to the 44-yard line for San Francisco. That's where Charles Huff made the tackle. McLemore put on the Jets.
He put it in high gear, overdrive. He surely did. Put his head down and went right down like it was a big tunnel right there. Didn't deviate at all. Went straight ahead and got as much out of the play as he possibly could.
Mark Stevens comes in now, number 7 for the 49ers. He played with Montreal last year in the CFL. He's a quick quarterback with good vision. When he ran the wishbone last week, he wasn't reading everything. It was all predetermined reads. We'll see what happens here today. Harry Sidney and Del Rogers, the setbacks.
Mark Stevens is the quarterback.
Herb Spencer, Dwayne Morris come up and make the tackle. Basically, all Stevens has to do is read that end on that, and then on the triple option, when they are out of the bone, he reads the tackle, fakes the fullback or whatever, and then comes down and reads the end.
Well, they're blocking it differently than they did last week, Bill Walsh indicated. Last week, they were sending the halfback down on the safety. Now they're blocking the linebacker with that halfback. Go ahead, Bill, with the attendance. Timmy?
Well, Bill's not here, so Tim will do it. 8,000 the attendance here. And if I'm not mistaken, that's the lowest in the league today. The other difference, too, Hank, is Stevens is reading this week, where last week everything was predetermined.
That's right. They didn't have enough time to work on the reads last week, and they blocked it differently, as I mentioned. Now he's definitely trying to read, and that's going to be a little bit more difficult, too, because that takes an awful lot of time and attention.
He and his wife had a baby this summer, and he was playing Mr. Mom when he got the call from the 49ers to come back. He was just babysitting. He told the coaches, if I can get a babysitter, coach, I'm there. Somebody to watch little Malcolm Andrew.
And he said to say hello to my wife, Cynthia.
9:51 remaining in the ball game here in Atlanta. 3rd and 7 from the 47. Stevens quick. He is quick. Tim Green, number 99, made the tackle, and Tim Green has indeed been busy this afternoon. Take a look at some of the other scores, Hank.
Yeah, look at this. San Diego 17-13. That's kind of a surprise. Tampa Bay had been playing very well. Cincinnati 17-3. Seattle, boy, that's a surprise.
4th quarter.
And Miami really massaged Kansas City 42-0.
That's not a massage. That's a good old-fashioned licking. Asmus kicks it away, and the 49ers will get the ball back. So with 8:57 remaining in the ball game, San Francisco still leads. Last week, here today, the 49ers and the Falcons. What do you think? Where's the quality of play?
I think it's equivalent to an expansion team. I really do. Really do, Tim. And I talked to Bill Walsh and asked him that question yesterday, and he said, the team that I have right now, the replacement team, is a better team than the team that I inherited when I first came to San Francisco. Pretty strong document.
Big league play here. Kramer to Sylvester Bird. Bird just runs by Butler.
Yes, he does, and then the ball's thrown a little bit behind him. And Butler doesn't see it, and it's a reception.
Nice adjustment, though, by Sylvester Bird to make the catch. It'll be 1st and 10 from the 46. Long count. Kramer with time, dumps it off. Great pursuit by the 49ers. John Kamana was the swingman, number 47, but there was not much there.
Here again, that's kind of an option. He looks downfield with the idea of maybe throwing to a receiver downfield, and if the linebacker or the halfback drops off, then he dumps the ball to the halfback in the flat.
I was going to tell you, they called John Kamana Squeeze. His dad gave him that name. They didn't have a lot of money. He didn't have lunch money, so every day he made a deal with the girls at school. He'd give them a hug, a squeeze, if they'd share their lunch. They started calling him Squeeze. 2nd and 9 from the 45.
Something in the middle, if they throw the ball, should be available.
Kramer with a lot of backside pressure now. Takes the right entrance. Picks up about 7 before Pollard can take him down. There is a flag, though. We'll wait and see what that is. Looks like it'll be against the Falcons.
They doubled the outside receivers that time, Tim, and there was a big hole in the middle, but he couldn't wait long enough to hit him.
Holding number 66, offense, 2nd down.
Randy Clark.
You know, and Randy Clark's a very valuable lineman because he can play center, he can play guard, he can play tackle. He was a good football player for the St. Louis Cardinals, and he was here because of his loyalty, really, to Jim Hannafin, who used to be the head coach at St. Louis.
He was at home working in a company he had started, an asbestos removal company. Said he worked the books and let everybody else remove the asbestos.
He just wanted to make sure he was in charge of the money.
2nd and 19. Kramer stops, throws. Is it complete? Yes. Lenny Taylor makes the catch. Again, they're working on Darryl Pollard on that half.
Good blocking at the point of attack by the right guard, Randy Clark, who we just talked about a minute ago. He blocks his defensive lineman to the inside, gives him a good alley to throw the ball outside, and Lenny Taylor, number 92, makes the catch.
Don't forget, coming up next Saturday here on CBS Sports, it'll be 2nd-ranked Nebraska. Oklahoma State short. So look out for that Oklahoma-Nebraska game. Two very strong football teams. This is the ankle of Mike Durrett.
I can't tell whether his ankle or his wrist is banged up. Look at the wrist. Look at his hand. Look at that big padding on his right hand.
Look at the blood on the pants.
Yep, he looks like a pugilist. Looks like he's got a boxing glove on there.
He's put in a day's work.
Yeah, it looks like Tyson.
He set up a physical fitness program for inmates at the San Francisco County Jail. I told you that. 4th and 7 from the 43. Kramer stumbles coming out and then gets sacked.
And that was only a 3-man rush. Only a 3-man rush that time, and they still got to the quarterback, Clyde Glover, number 93, got the penetration.
All they needed was a 1-man rush. Glover.
Glover, that's right, the way it turned out. That's right. Left part of your picture, left end, 93. Here you see him, gets the penetration, sack.
6:04 remaining. Wishbone. Mike Verichon Harry Sidney and Del Rogers, the backs. John gets the call.
John said yesterday, I said, anything unusual happened? He said, oh, nothing much, except that when I got in the huddle for the first time with Russ Francis, I was standing next to him, and I said, Russ, I used to collect football cards, and I have your picture when I was a kid.
He told us he's got 4.6 speed. Actually, it looks like Brian Bosworth. He has a similar hairstyle. Del Rogers breaks a tackle down to the 26-yard line. Gary Moss and Herb Spencer double team him there.
And Limbo Parks, number 72, was out there in front. He got a great block. He's a good looking runner.
How do you get the name Limbo?
I don't know. I'm going to have to double check that. Of course, he's a guy that was at the pizza farm, wasn't he?
Yeah, that's exactly right. He delivered pizzas
yeah.
when they called. Coach called and said, hey, Limbo, what are you doing? He said, delivering pizzas. He said, I'd like to play football. He says, you want a large or a medium?
Plus the fact he said he had to work. He owed $500 on his Visa card and wanted to get some money to pay it back.
John, the ball carrier. Dwayne Morris and James Hall make the tackle. I'll tell you this, Limbo Parks is a load. 6'3", 285 pounds.
I tell you, I was amazed the way he ran out there on that lead block, the way he pulled from the guard position.
Rookie out of Arizona, or Arkansas, rather.
It looked like the linebacker might have had a pizza.
Second and 7. Stevens looks to the corner. Should have been caught. Intended for Tony Gladney and hit him between the 8 and the 6, and he should have had it. Lindell Jones was the corner who was beaten. Keep those scores coming. We'll keep you up to date on what happened today. Miami just blew Kansas City out of there. And that was down in the new stadium.
Joe Robbie had to be all smiles along with Don Shula.
Well, I'm not so sure any of the owners right now are all smiles, though, Hank. As you look at the standings.
I guarantee you they smile more when they win than they lose.
I also guarantee you they'd like to have the veterans back. 3rd and 7 from the 22. Stevens throws a little swing pass. It was intended for Harry Sidney, and it was overthrown badly. In the AFC Central, Houston over Cleveland, 15-10. Cincinnati over Seattle. That now in the 4th quarter.
You know, the Falcons have done a... here's the Rams, 28-14.
Go ahead. What were you going to say?
I was going to say that the Falcons have done a good job against the triple option. They're playing their normal 3-4 defense, and then they're putting their strong safety right in there close as a middle linebacker, and he's in charge of trailing that quarterback. Hard to do business there.
Brockhouse, a 40-yard attempt on the field goal. He missed from 23, made a 20-yarder, and this one is no good. So it will stay 25-10. In the AFC West, San Diego over Tampa Bay, 17-13. Not a receiver in the neighborhood. Clyde Glover again was applying the pressure. Big number 93. All right, Hank, let's look at it this way. Since talks broke off today between Upshaw and Donlin, we don't know how long this strike will last. Player reps, I believe, will get together this week. But if it does continue, let's talk about some of the teams that have brought in the talent that look strong. Obviously, the 49ers and Redskins.
Well, they're two. The Chicago Bears have done an excellent job in that department, too. That's very, very obvious. I think the Saints did a respectable job of picking up people. They lost today, but they looked impressive yesterday. But I think one of the key ingredients, I think the fact that a guy like Bill Walsh runs the entire situation with the 49ers. He knows what it takes to win. He's in charge of the whole procedure. He's got a great staff. They all work very good together. And Mr. DeBartolo gives him total control. He's also involved. But there's been great anticipation on part of the 49er management, especially Bill Walsh, and that's why I think they're in a position they are right now with this good talent.
After the big pickup, Kramer to Granger, Collins comes in and sacks Kramer, so they'll move it back.
First charge timeout, Falcons.
Atlanta takes a timeout. Now that's the first timeout they've had, and you can see the levity. You think Montana feels pressure? Kramer, backside pressure, throws deep and incomplete. And there was a battle going on out there. They were bumping and grinding. It was intended for Lenny Taylor, and Darryl Pollard was there, and they were going after each other.
You know, when he's had time to throw the ball, he throws a good tight spiral, and at that time he threw the ball about 35, 40 yards down the field and had a good rotation. Wasn't a completion, but the delivery of the ball was good.
Kramer is 9 for 24, 140 yards, 1 interception. This is on 3rd and 20. Throws deep. Lenny Taylor has it. He will not have enough for the first down. Again, it's Taylor working on Pollard. Clock continues to roll.
And Doug Mackey, number 73, really did a great job of blocking the defensive end on the last play.
And as I say, the clock continues to roll. This is 4th and 3 for Kramer. It'll be close. McIntosh, 48, is up near the sticks. He's got it. First down, Atlanta. Dana McLemore got there late.
No, seriously, Tim, who's going to the Super Bowl? I picked the Bears and the Raiders, as Al Davis calls them, the Raiders. I picked those two teams to be in the Super Bowl when the season started.
Yeah, you picked them this afternoon.
No, I picked them on national television before the season.
Kramer drills it across the middle. And that is nice defense out there by Pollard. It was intended for Lenny Taylor, and Taylor and Pollard are having a pretty good matchup. That time, Darryl Pollard couldn't have timed it any better. Out of the first-year pro out of Weber State. Hung in his hip pocket, came through at the last second, timed it, and knocked it down with the left hand. Washington winning big over the Giants, and this is the way it stands in the NFC East. And Washington lost to the Atlanta Falcons 21-20 in the second week of the regular season, and that was with the veterans.
Yep, so try to figure it out.
Kramer, all kinds of time. Now throws and has the first down. Again, it looked like it was Lenny Moore Taylor. And he's working on Pollard. These guys are having a good old-fashioned Donnybrook.
Yeah, and look at the way they're playing. Look at the way these young players are hustling. Looks like they still got a chance to win the game. The way they're playing in this last 2 minutes.
That's the 2-minute warning. Kramer. Pollard almost had himself an interception. Again, it was intended for Taylor. The shoes on Roger Craig.
Fancy.
No wonder he's so fast.
Well, he's but look at, he's got the colors of Nebraska shoes and 49er shoes. You know, the same colors.
Standing tall, looking good. Should have been in Hollywood, right?
I can't say that about those shoes you wear. I guarantee you those hush puppies or whatever they call them.
Coming up next, 60 minutes, except on the West Coast.
It looked like you walked all the way from Maryland in those babies.
Kramer, incomplete. Flag flies. Gonzalez couldn't hang on, but there's a penalty, and it'll be interference against the 49ers, I do believe, against John Butler. John Butler's a good story. He's out of Principia College.
Pass interference, number 26, defense, automatic first down.
First player out of Principia ever to make the NFL. Looked like pretty good defense. Both going for the ball.
Yeah, he said they had a big party back there on the campus when he played the Monday Night Football game in New York last week in Jersey. Had a lot of fun.
First and goal at the 4, Atlanta. Kramer, timing pattern. Great catch by Taylor. Oh, what a catch by Lenny Taylor. Working on Pollard. He adjusted in midair, and now they're saying no good. They signaled touchdown, and now they're going to take it away. Look at this, Hank.
Oh, this is sensational. Play action fake. Watch Taylor on the outside, looking to the inside, spins to the outside, brings it down with one hand.
Now watch the official.
In the process, it looks like he still had it.
See the official signal touchdown?
Yeah. Look at this. Look at the way he... You can't tell with his back to us. Evidently, it's loose.
It was on the ground.
It was on the ground.
But the official signaled touchdown, and then they waved it off. This has been fun watching Taylor and Pollard go after it here in the fourth period.
There it goes. It went right through there like a basketball hoop.
Lenny Taylor out of Tennessee. No question, he dropped it.
Yeah, we get a good picture here. Watch this slide right on through. It's a great effort, a gallant effort. But watch this, as he starts to bring it down, he goes right through his legs. Watch it hit the turf, incomplete.
I'm surprised the official right there on it didn't see it hit the ground.
I think he had bad position. He was behind the ball, and the other official was in front of it and saw it flop through there.
Of course, as a coach, you would have accepted that very quietly, I'm sure.
Oh, yeah, wouldn't have said a word. No. Here you go again.
Of course, we knew that.
Yeah, after we saw it about 3 times.
Second and goal from the 4. Kramer throws. Incomplete. Intended for Gonzalez.
Pass intended for Gonzalez. Incomplete.
John Butler was the defensive back. We asked John Butler what he wants to do after football, and he said he's got the Trump syndrome.
Yeah, he wants to be a big builder.
His hero, Donald Trump.
Well,
not a bad role model.
No, that's
if you want to
right.
make money.
If you're going to think, you better think big, and that's what he's doing.
Kramer from the 3-yard line. Throws across the middle, broken up nicely. And incomplete. Aaron Como is the man that tipped it. It was almost intercepted in the secondary, but it falls harmlessly to the ground. So it'll bring up 4th down.
Talked to Rankin Smith, the owner of this football team, before the game on the field. He's hoping desperately that in the near future they'll wind up with a new stadium here in Atlanta. That would be great, wouldn't it?
I know in Washington, Jack Kent Cooke is lobbying for a new stadium. And of course, Joe Robbie just got his. On 4th down today, the Falcons are 3 for 4. Throws, touchdown, Falcons. Touchdown, John Kamana. First-year player out of USC.
And you got to admire the spirit of this team. Look at this. Look at it, play action. Blitzing linebacker, gets rid of the ball quickly, and Kamana makes the catch. He'll go right to the trophy room with that one.
The extra point, the snap is good, and the kick is good by Greg Davis. Kamana is from Honolulu, Hawaii. He said when he learned the hula, it helped him in his football with body control.
Here we see play action, fake it inside, holds the linebacker, 54, in good shape, and Kamana makes a move going to his left, slides back to the other side. A very good move in the end zone. The ball's